and welcome to another Digital Photo Mentor Live. And this week we have a very special edition because I have some special guests with me. And as you can see, I have my Luminar Neo shirt and my Luminar Neo hat in the background. And my special guests that are joining me today are Juliana and Dima from Skylum. So let me just give you a quick introduction of who these people are. Juliana is the Chief Marketing Officer, or the CMO, for Skylum. She's been with the company for 8 years, back to when they were called McFun. And her and I actually worked together many years ago on a campaign when I was managing a digital photography school managing editor. So we have a lot of history there. And she's also studying business at Oxford online. So it's really impressive. And I'm really delighted to see a woman and so many women in positions of importance within the company. So welcome, Juliana.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Darlene. It's amazing to be here.
And Dima, who is having the rock coming out of his head, is the Research and Development Engineering Manager for Skylum and for Luminar Neo. So he is the guy that is in charge of making Luminar the best possible photo editor for you. And he is married. I met his lovely wife in Portugal. They have a 10-year-old son, or he has a 10-year-old son, and he loves to play soccer, or as we call it, or as you guys call it, football in Europe, right? So Thank you so much for doing this. Welcome, Dima.
Hi, and thank you for the introduction. And I'm very excited.
Me too. Let's dive in. So what I usually do is I just kind of go into the chat and see who's here. And I've got a lot of regulars joining today. I see Marguerite and Danelle, Sheila. I did get your question, Sheila. Deb is in Alaska. So we've got people from all over the place already. Dale is here. Awesome. He's often on the Insiders, and glad to have you back. David from Eastern Canada. Manfred, Florida, and Holly, who is a big Luminar Neo fan and student of my Luminar Neo course. Let's see. I made this shirt, Holly. So I took the logo and I had to make it myself. So we're going to get to your question about merchandise because we got that one. That's a great one. Scotland. Excellent. Thanks for joining us, Osman. Nice to have you. Gina. Great to have you as well. Russ, we've got some of your questions. So I recognize a lot of names and we have a lot of questions. So I want to dig in and we're going to get to as many of them as we possibly can. So let's see, where do we want to start? Do you want to just start with one for you, Dima? Because Dima has a lot of questions directed towards him because he's the guy that makes the software. So I'm going to read the first one from John, who is in the US. John uses Luminar Neo as a plugin for Photoshop. He loves its many features. One thing that's important to me when printing a file is knowing the RGB values of the shadows and the highlights. Knowing that there's clipping or no clipping is not enough. For example, if I want to just because there's no clipping in the shadows doesn't mean there will be shadow detail when I print. Other programs provide the RGB values under the histogram. Any chance this will be coming in the future? Over to you, Dima.
Okay. Thanks for the question. I think that's not the thing that we can't do. We can display that information. We have that information. It's quite a professional request, I think. It's not for the wide audience, but I think we will think about the I don't know, optional inclusion of those who need it. I think, yeah, we can do that. We will take it into account. Yeah.
Okay, Dima and I were talking a little bit before the live started about features like color infrared and things that are really specific requests. So what they have to do, you guys, is to take into consideration the popularity and the demand of such a thing, right? So if the demand is small, it's less likely to get built into the program, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
For the overall users. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. David, who I believe is here, yes, says, what hardware capabilities does Neo take advantage of the most? Now, I know he's a tech guy, so he's asking memory, CPU, or GPU. Also, on the Mac platform, does Neo take advantage of the Apple Silicon capabilities like the Neural Engine? I'm running a Mac Studio, and I find that Neo does not push it very hard.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Regarding to this, it depends on the operation. Some of the operation can be processed only on the CPU. Some of the operation can be processed partly on CPU and GPU, and some of them can be processed GPU only. So we also use the NPU processing of our AI models. And in general, I understand the question you have in using all the capabilities of the Apple Silicon platform. The last year was the year of the software updates and the software framework, first of all, improvements. Now, at the end of the last year and the beginning of this year, we made lots of speed up improvements, and we have very straight plans to get the acceleration on the Apple Silicon platform. And I think you will get that acceleration very soon. So we have very straight plan to do that. Oh yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great technical question, David. There's questions coming in the chat. There's stuff firing everywhere. So that's great. Everybody's really engaged. So let's switch to a question for Juliana. Okay, I've got multiple spreadsheets open here, you guys. Okay, so question from Holly, and she's here as well. Do you see there being any phone support or live chat support in the future? And along those lines, can issues be given a case number or a reference number, or have you found that isn't necessary? There's usually several different support people responding, and I find sometimes I have to waste time by repeating my issue more than once, or people haven't read the trail of emails. So I'll leave that one for you, Juliana.
Sure. Hi, Holly. So regarding our support and our plans for it, so according to our strategy, which we has recently updated, and we believe it will be the strong one to help us become one of the key tools for photographers worldwide. We think that we want to become as close to our customers as possible, and that means being really fast in answering your requests. So that's our top priority for customer success team. And when you see different people answering your emails, it just means that someone else is on the shift, so your email won't just stay there, and you will get response as fast as possible. All of the emails are stacked according to your email, so we know everything that came before. So if there is some repetition, I will discuss it with our head of customer success, who just we got a new person in the team. She's amazing, and we'll discuss how to make sure that there are no such cases when you have to repeat something. But other than that, we have all of the emails stacked together, so we are aware of the previous conversation, no matter what agent gets back to you. So that's one thing. And the second thing regarding phone support or live chat, for I cannot say for sure, but phone support is not on our roadmap anywhere this year. But we are planning on doing tests with chat in some locations, not everywhere, because again, we have to cover some specific time zones or some specific geos. But other than that, our top priority is just reducing the time to reply. And that's where we are focusing now. And once that is done, we will move on to trying different ways to support you. But be sure that we read all of the emails. The customer success team also has regular chats with product team, so they are also aware of all of the issues that go through them. And also, we read all of the comments on social. So whenever you comment, for example, Darlene's video, we also know your feedback, and we also read it and pass it on to the relevant team.
One of the questions that I had on the form that I sent to everybody to receive all these questions, somebody actually said, because I said, was there anything you'd like to say to the Skylum team? And somebody said, the support team is fantastic, notwithstanding whether the solution provided is acceptable or not. The response from the team members is top notch, timely, prompt, professional, and friendly. So there you go.
Thank you so much. It's amazing to hear that. We really value all of the warm feedback we receive, and we share it within the team. So thank you, thank you for those kind words. And whenever you have something good to say about us, please also share it with our customer success team, because we might end up using it in our marketing materials or highlighting you to our community on social. Because and just team, our engineers, our marketers, everyone values your feedback so much. It keeps us going.
Awesome. That comment was by, I'm going to attempt to pronounce their name, Suryana. Okay, I'm sure I'm murdering this name, but thank you for your comment. Now we've got a couple of questions actually in the live chat here, so I want to make sure we engage with people that are here. And there's a question from Pat. Is there any chance of getting a mask on the Vignette tool? I frequently want it centered, but I have a dark corner that I don't want darkened more. Actually, I want to second that one, Dima, because I have that issue as well. So that's for you, Dima.
Yeah, it's about, I know about the question. The main problem, I think, is after the cropping of the image. So yeah, we in the very near future, you will have that. We already developed recalculation of the Vignette tool after the cropping, so you will not have that problem.
But what she's talking about here is different. So if you have, for example, an image where there's shadow already in the bottom corner, and you want to darken the other three corners, but not that one. She wants to have a mask on the Vignette so you can mask it off that corner.
Okay. I think, yeah, it's possible. Sure, it's possible. Just to add the masking to the Vignette, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for the question.
There is nothing impossible for our team, but Dima, please do not promise anything.
I won't promise that. I won't promise anything. Yeah.
He's going to get in trouble.
It's not something that is very, I don't know. It's very clear for us. So thank you for the question. Yeah.
Okay, another one from Sheila, who's in Canada, Dima. So, you know, what you have ready to go. Yes, I gave him a hat. Sheila says, wondering why sometimes AI masking works very well sometimes, and others it's not so great. Is there a theory behind using it that it will get better the more one uses it? Or I'm going to add, is that something that you're working on developing and improving it all the time?
Yeah, we're working on the AI masking improvement. Yeah, that's the process that and the problem we need to cover. I think it's a permanent process of improving the tool. Sometimes we get good results, sometimes not. But the learning process of AI looks good, and I think in the future we will have better results. So we do not stop our AI development. So yeah.
And I can attest that I saw some things in Portugal that I'm not allowed to talk about, but I know that there's always new and good things coming. Dennis said, okay, more tech. I think this was along to go with maybe David's question, but this is a very technical question. Would it be possible to support manufactured log gammas so that you can use LUTs to convert to sRGB? I'm not sure I understand the question, Dennis. Do you understand that question, Dima?
Oh, it's too complicated
Technical?
question. It's too technical question. I don't. Is it possible to skip it? I just don't want to deep dive into that.
Sure. Yeah, it seems very technical.
Yeah.
Now John asked a question, and I'm going to cover this one because we've got one in the sheet as well, so we can pair these together. When using Mask AI, sometimes the mask needs to be refined. Is there something like Edge Aware going to become available? Now I know there's another one that we have like that, so I'll let you start on that one, and I'll find the other question.
Okay. Yeah, the mask needs to be refined sometimes. Edge Aware, yeah, we think about that improvement, but it's like we think about it. I can't say that it will be available soon, but maybe. But in general, we are aiming to improve the AI masking result, but to deliver you to the best quality of the mask first of all, to not annoy you of that refinement. So that's our target first of all.
Darlene, are you back?
Yeah. No, Rob was just asking me a question, so I had to mute.
Yeah,
and there's some similar questions in the sheet, the questions that came in ahead of time about masking. So if you maybe want to address those at this time. Let's see. David from Portugal asked a similar question. Well, that's a different one here. Deb asked about, will masking AI have a choice for subject? And as well, Catherine Leroy said, are there plans to have masking AI identify the background and the subject? And I think they asked that because Lightroom now has that capability as well. So they feel like maybe we're catching up. And then Angie had the same question, wondering about masking, if Luminar will be like Lightroom soon.
At the moment, we have some researches to improve the segmentation part in general, AI masking, and not masking by using some classes. So we are in progress. That's what I can say. Yeah.
Okay. And I've got another one from Holly. I'm going to try to put it into the thing here. She asked, oops, sorry, we did that one already. She asked, do you think there will be a future option to change the color of the mask? Specifically, I was trying to erase an effect off a red flower and I couldn't see what I was doing. So again, this is something that's possible in Lightroom, where you can change the mask itself, the color of the overlay, to like green or white or black or whatever, so that if you're masking something that's red, like she said, you could see the mask better.
Yeah. I understand the question. Yes, we have such a task in backlog, but I don't have a strict date when it can be delivered to. But it's in our backlog. That's what I can say. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Question for Juliana. Danelle says, I'm having a rough time verifying when I pay for additional subscription time that my purchase is properly credited to me and I'm not losing months credit. So has there been any issues with when you switched over to the monthly subscription model? It looks like maybe there's a glitch in the system.
None that I'm aware of, but in case you Danelle, if in case you have, sorry if I mispronounced, in case you have any troubles, just reach out to our customer success team, because they can always find all of your purchases and credit your account correctly. So for sure, if you have any extra months, you will get them. So there should be no troubles with that at all.
Cool. Again, the support team is amazing, so just reach out to them if you have any issues to know. Okay, so I'm not sure the name of the person because they're watching on Facebook. Is there a chance to have a photo stacking feature to simulate ND filters? This is an interesting one, Dima. So interestingly enough, he's got a long exposure picture behind him, which I know where he took because I was there, and that was when we were all together in Madeira. And as you can see, Dima is a great photographer as well. So he knows he's using these tools himself. So I think what they want to do is, if you don't have an ND filter to get a longer exposure, if you take a series of exposures, you can actually blend them together and it will make it look like it's long exposure. Mic drop.
Yeah, I understand. Good question about that's also something. It's not for the wide audience, but I can imagine it like an extension, like HDR Merge or something like that.
I think it's similar to what you and I discussed in Madeira about, like I was talking about light painting images stacked.
Yeah.
So it's blending the images, right? So I think what we want to be able to do is to, like HDR, grab a set of images and exposure blend them, but in a different way than HDR, because if you try and do that with light painted images, it doesn't work, right? So a quick way to sort of stack them as layers, maybe even just something like that. Because I know for example, again, I apologize for comparing to, Lightroom and Photoshop, but that's what people want to not replicate, but if they want to stop using those software, they need it to do. And I know that's a discussion we had about what will it take to stop using Lightroom or Photoshop. So in Lightroom, I can select 5 or 6 images, in the thumbnails, and then say, open these as layers in Photoshop, and it stacks them automatically for me. So even a feature just like that, and then we can change the blend modes of the layers ourselves, and that would solve the problem. So just open images as layers, I think, would solve the problem. Okay, let's switch back to one for Juliana. Okay, so Holly's got a lot of questions, which is great because we know that she's using the software and she's a fan. So I can't have all her question here, but she wants to know about Skylum merchandise, as she said, my shirt. So she had to make her own coffee break mug because she wanted it so much, but she'd love to have other things like hat, sweatshirt, and so on. You're muted, Juliana.
Holly, that's an amazing question. Thank you so much for that. And I would actually also want to start selling Skylum merchandise, but well, we have priorities, and somehow it's not our priority over the last couple of years. But one thing I can suggest, if you made already a coffee break mug, by the way, hello to all of the coffee break people here. It's cool to see you. And if you want to maybe start creating Skylum merchandise, you can email me at juliana@skylum.com. I will put you in touch with the relevant person on my team, and we can maybe discuss how we can do it on a revenue share basis, when you'd be able to use our logo and produce merchandise and sell it if you would want to. Maybe other people would want coffee break mugs as well.
We can do that.
Darlene.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're actually looking at doing some merchandise for us as well. Because I have certain little phrases and things that I use when I'm doing editing, like the photo editing dance. And everybody that watches knows that I talk about don't make neon puke. So that's that's my thing about like over HDR'd images. So I would love to. We can talk about that more after. Yeah. Great question. Okay, let's get back to some for Dima.
Okay.
Okay, so Lauren from Deutschland, which I'm assuming is Germany, wants to know, why do edits on a photo disappear when I switch to catalog view? I then have to edit my photos from scratch.
Tell you the truth, I edit a lot in Luminar and I don't meet such problem. Please contact our support to investigate that, because sometimes we can't reproduce some problems and we need your assistant, our customer assistant, so to reproduce that and then fix that. And also we are ready to assist you, to help you, and we're targeting to cover that problems and fix them.
Okay, next question is from Nate in the US. And Nate asks, will the HDR have a slider to adjust it if it's too strong?
Tell you the truth, I have doubts about that, because technological process do not look like it would be possible in the near future to add an amount slider. Because during the HDR merging process, it takes a lot of resources to process that, and taking into account that it takes really a lot of resource to add an extra thing, an extra amount slider that can in real time give you a possibility to change and look at the result. It's not possible. I don't at the near future, I think, but maybe yeah.
If I can add, it just I recognize this request from the time when we just released HDR Merge, and I remember people asking us, "Can we have that slider like we had in Aurora?" But the interesting thing is, we did not have it in Aurora. We only had an HDR effect that would intensify HDR look, but it would not be an actual HDR merge, because HDR is not an effect which is applied on top of the photo. It's actually something that is done to the, like when we're stuck in images and we're applying our proprietary technology to merge them and identify the areas and how they will be merged. So it's not really possible to adjust that look. It's so it just technically really, it's not impossible, I'd say, but it's definitely not something that can be done easily.
I think I understand as well, because I used Aurora too, and I was going to say the HDR effect is kind of what they're looking for. So maybe something to go along with that, Dima, like with the HDR Merge tool, there's now an effect slider to intensify it or something. Yeah, it's food for thought. Okay. One more question for Dima. Is the Luminar Neo catalog searchable by date or keyword if I need to find a particular image or group of images? And that's from Marguerite.
Thanks for the question. I know we have a lot of work to be done to improve the catalog, to add functionality of keywords, and grouping images, etc., etc., etc. Right now, we look at it at the more wide, what we want to deliver to you, and I think we will. I can't promise when it will be delivered to you, when it may be released, but we are thinking of improvement of our catalog in general. So, yeah, thank you for the question.
Yeah, and metadata is something that, you know, Dima and I discussed as well, and several of the other partners that, you know, we've mentioned that a few times. We keep telling them this is what we want. So they're listening, you guys. They're listening. Okay. I'm gonna do a couple of quick ones here that I can sort of cover. Marguerite also asked if Luminar Neo is used as a standalone edit. Are my image edits to the image non-destructive? Yes, Marguerite, they're always non-destructive. It's a database editor, so your edits only get applied once you export or save the image. And Nate asked about Neo when will Neo have color grading available? And we have that now. The toning tool is basically color grading, or if you want to apply a LUT, that is in the mood tool. In terms of LUTs, Marguerite also asked, I've heard reference to the term LUT or lookup table. I'm not sure what it is. Is it like a preset in Lightroom Classic? If you need to, if you want to apply it in Lightroom, it's more like a custom profile. Okay, so it's like what you would apply at the very beginning, Marguerite, and it does have some color toning and color grading. But in Luminar, you have more flexibility with it if you apply it in Luminar, because you can mask it, you can dial it up or down, and so on. All right, so there was a few for me, and let's go back to one for Juliana. Okay, do you want to tackle this one from Simon? It's a big one. So Simon Childs in the UK, as a regular user and advocate of Skylum's Luminar Neo, I find myself compelled to seek clarification on a matter of considerable importance to myself: the publication of the next 5 extensions. Given what we now transition beyond the first quarter of the year, the absence of an anticipated clear communication regarding the release has become cause for concern. In the spirit of maintaining open lines of communication and continued user satisfaction, can you please provide a timeline for the launch of such extensions? This would be greatly assist users in planning and optimizing their workflow and trust between Skylum and valued community. Whew. That's you, Juliana. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, that was a long question. I might need Dima's support here, but anyway, as for extensions, they are in works right now, because for us as a team, it's really important to deliver the best possible experience. So if something is not up to our standards of quality, we would rather delay it or not release it at all than deliver it in order to fulfill some quantity expectations. So I cannot really say how many extensions we will release this year. It might be 2, 3, 4, can't really tell, but we are going to deliver them this year, absolutely, because those people who are part of our pro subscription, they will definitely get them. They will definitely have new cool extensions, and you can be sure that the team is working extremely hard on making sure that these extensions will really deliver you the highest value possible. And just in order to explain a little bit how we approach extensions and major functionality in Luminar, it's important to understand that we kind of think, so if something has great value to a really wide audience, that will become a major feature in Luminar. And if something has really great value for a really small audience, then it will be delivered as extensions. Because extension, so let's take HDR. Not everyone takes HDR, right? So like it's a specific audience. You take HDR, I take HDR. So for us, it's valuable, but for someone who does not, or for someone who does street photography, that's not something of a high value. So that's the way we are approaching extensions and major version functionality in Luminar. And That's one part. And the second part, there will be extensions, and team right now works on them.
So I know there are some new things coming, and there's, just for the audience's benefit, there's often like the partners like myself will find out slightly before the release so that we can, you know, get a copy and make some videos and so on. But there's usually an embargo date so that everything is released all at the same time. So just for your information, right, I may know about some things now, but I can't tell you because Dima would have to kill me. I've been sworn to secrecy. Okay, so now we've got another technical question for Dima, and this is one that comes up a lot, and I have the same issue. So again, I'm murdering this person's name, so I've put it on the screen because I'm afraid of pronouncing your name incorrectly. Main reason why I cannot use Neo as my mainstream photo editor. Number one, the folders cannot be so big. My folders contain 1,000 plus images, but 2, the catalog is still slow on larger folders. Number 3, my Lightroom catalog has 43,000 images and it's 500 megs. My catalog for 6,000 images in Neo is 64 gigs. For a software that saves on editing parameters, this will cause performance issues. So do you want to speak about that, Dima, in terms of the size of the catalog?
I know that pain. And first of all, maybe to talk about that shortly, the size, about the size. So we have non-destructive architecture of our editor, so it takes more space on your computer, first of all, but it's not the thing you have to worry about. You just want to have the best performance. So it's a good question for us how to solve that. And thank you for the question. We hear you. We hear Darlene also. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. And I can work with you, Dima, on that if you want to see like exact numbers and things, because my Lightroom catalog is 200,000. So, and I generally keep all of my pictures in there, but I don't import them all into Luminar for the same reason, right? And I had issue putting all of my Portugal images in as well because it started slowing down for me. So it is a challenge that they're working on. I'm going to skip over and do something a little bit different because I asked everybody what was their favorite tool in Luminar Neo, and I'm just going to read a couple of them because I thought that survey would be slightly interesting. Overall, the big response to that question was the overall popular one was actually Enhance AI, with 33% of people answering the form said they liked Enhance AI. 27.8 develop raw. So that's interesting. And I find that actually really positive because those are the main tools for, you know, correcting your image. 5.6 said erase % and also face AI. So people doing portraits, they found that really helpful as well. Some of the comments I got was from Kelly Mitchell. She likes the erase tool. Dust spots and power lines gone in the click of a button. Wow. Yes, that's a big one for me as well, because when I was shooting in Portugal, I'm not a landscape photographer, so I don't usually shoot at f/22, but as soon as I started closing down my aperture, all of a sudden I realized I had dust on my sensor. So it was nice to be able to remove it with a click. I agree. Holly said Skin AI is her favorite. When editing portraits, I like Skin AI because it doesn't make the person look too plastic. All the portrait tools are great, and I find it to be the easiest type of edit. You can make someone look great in a short amount of time, and face light is super as well. So some great comments there. Just thought I would interject. I'm just going to take a small break here as well because I'm going to share my screen on a couple of things. People asked about, is there a trial version of Luminar Neo? And there is. It's not readily available, but I have it available for you. And it has been sanctioned by the Luminar team. Can you verify that for me, Juliana? This has been approved for us to share.
Yes, since our team has shared it.
Okay, so this is a special page for everybody, and I'm going to put the URL on the screen now. If Rob, you could put that in the chat. If you are watching and you do not currently have Luminar Neo, there is a 7-day trial, and you can get it from that page. And likewise, if you want more education with Luminar Neo, you can pick up our Luminar Neo course, and we have a preview of 2 lessons available for that as well. So there's my short commercial, and let's get back to the questions. Okay, let me go to one for Holly again. Let's just see. Do you want to pick one, Juliana? What would you like to? Oh, here's a good one. Holly said, is there someone at Skylum who's in charge of collecting a list of current bugs and complaints? And I would add feature requests. What is the process to find and resolve the bugs? How are they prioritized? Just curious how this is handled and executed.
So this is actually a question not for me, but for Dima, because yeah,
that's for me. Yeah. Okay, thanks for the question. In general, it's a complex process. It looks like, first of all, it starts from our support team, and I thanks them because of that. So they play a big role and a very important role in that process. So support receive all the requests, all the messages from our customers about the problems, about the functionality, about the lack of the functionality, about inability to find some functions or features in our product, as well as the request about the bugs. And also our support team monitors the comments on the social media networks such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and others. And then we use the other part of this process. We use the Sentry system that collects crash logs, so we can we see the number of crashes across platforms and the versions of the software. So as a result, as a summary, we have the weekly report that we discussing during the operational meetings. So in general, that how it looks.
Okay. This one, I got a couple of quick ones for Dima. Well, let's hope anyways. Steve from the USA wants to know, will you have stitching? So I'm assuming that means panoramic stitching.
Talking about the stitching as a standalone feature, I don't think it will be available, or in general, it's not in our roadmap, I can say. But talking about the panorama stitching, it's in our roadmap, and it will be it will be developed and delivered to you in this year.
Cool. I'm excited to see that. Next one. Lauren from Deutschland wants to know, why can't you move the before and after slider all the way to the edge of the picture? And I'm just going to do a screen share because people might want to know what that means. So for example, when we're doing this before and after slider here, they want to know why doesn't it go all the way?
It's just a UX UI feature. Because we have the before and after on the top of that, and if you just move it to the right or to the left, you have you need to show that before and after.
The word, the word
so
is up
that's
there.
the reason. Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of assumed as well that if you move it off the screen, how are you going to get it back, right? So
Yeah.
I personally don't even use this one, guys. Like I use the backslash key. So I just hold the backslash key down and do it that way. So do you like my edit on this one, Dima?
Yeah, looks nice.
That's Japan. So that's in Sabina's neighborhood, another Skylum team member who's currently living in Japan. Okay, so let me go back over here. Sorry, I've got 3 spreadsheets, guys. Okay, so Deb has a good question. Over the years, I've bought a lot of software from you guys. This comes up a lot, both as McFun and Skylum, including Creative Kit, Luminar, Luminar 18, Luminar 3, PhotoLeamer, and it seemed that whenever I purchased an application, that it was soon replaced by a new or different one, which is why I skipped Luminar AI. As a result, I never used these applications. I never used them extensively, and I was hesitant to commit to Neo. I finally purchased Neo last November, as I had a specific need for Sky replacement, and you had a good sale going. Also, credit Darlene for showing me what else it could do. Yay. As such, can you comment on now?
Yeah.
Can you comment if Skylum now sees Luminar as the single going forward Luminar application?
Yeah, I can absolutely take that. Thank you so much for that question. And first thing I want to tackle is that whenever we released a new product, everyone on the team was super excited about it. So the same as you, we were putting lots of effort into every product, into making sure that it's relevant, it has new technologies, and that it's our best product yet. But as I've been on the team for many years, and I've been part of the team who actually launched Luminar in 2016, I remember that very first version of Luminar, and also I've been the one who launched Creative Kit at 2016. So I can tell you that Luminar Neo is our best product yet. Honestly, after AI, we were kind of hesitant to launch another version, but the way we see our future, we definitely will be bringing more AI technologies to you guys. We will be leveraging all of the latest tech available on the market, and innovation is at our core. And unfortunately, one of the biggest revelations that we've had after reviewing what we've done and just being completely honest with ourselves is that Luminar AI was not a scalable platform, and with each new AI feature, it would slow down. And as you can imagine, performance is our top 1 feature request among all of them. And for us to be able to continue improving performance, to make Luminar really fast, we had to drop that older platform and release Neo. And for Neo, just imagine it, we have to rewrite the whole program from scratch. We were not able to use anything. That's why you see many of you folks have used Luminar for years and some things seem obvious to you. Why don't you have why can't we adjust presets, or why can't we see before and after slider? It's not because we did not want to bring it or it was easy and we just decided not to. It was mainly because we had to rewrite the whole program, and just some of the stuff was lower on the priority list. But eventually, as you can see, over the last year and couple of months since the release, we continue finding things that are important and bringing them back or introducing something new. So for us, Neo is a go-to platform, is a go-to product, is a tool that will stay, and that we are continuously improving, continuously adding new features to, working on performance improvements. And we did not release a new Neo last year, and we're going to continuously improve it. So you will see that Neo is a product that will stay, and it's a user experience that will be continuously improved. So definitely there will be some stuff that will be removed, something will be added, but it will be all on the same platform, because Luminar Neo is our product for photography that that is, and it's our intention to keep developing it.
Luminar Neo.
Yay! That's how you can start creating t-shirts and
yes,
sweatshirts and mugs now.
With Neo, yes. Michael had a question about toggling the show and hide mask and an option to have a choice of folder when exporting. And I'm going to share my screen again because for Dima, this one again was something that we had previously, and it did work at some point. So when we have the mask on like this, right, I can click show and hide to show and hide it, but the / key for me doesn't work. So maybe it's supposed to work, but it's not.
It's not that shortcut. We had some other questions regarding to the erase and shortcut of the erase.
Yeah,
I remember it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the question to think about, to maybe to add custom shortcuts for some buttons that may help you to have a better user experience in the product. So yeah, thanks for the question, and thanks for
and here's a question for you guys as well. Like, where should they send feature requests other than here, right? Is there an email address or a process for sending in feature requests?
As I mentioned, the process looks like, at the moment, it looks like starts from the support team, but you can email me or Juliana, or first of all, I think me or our product team, and they will contact and they share it with me, and then, as I mentioned, we will discuss it. And
do you want to provide your email address publicly, or do you want them to send it to me and I send it to you?
Or you can send an email to our customer success team, mention that you were watching this live and ask to be connected with Dima. That would be the best option. And our customer success team will know that you were part of this, and they will forward your request.
What's the email you'd want for the customer success team?
support@skylum.com.
Okay, I'm going to put that in my overlay. All right, I will put that for you guys. Oops, no, we did that one already. Sorry. support@skylum.com, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so there's the email address to use to send in feature requests. And that's the same one that you would send in, notice of a bug report or any issues as well, right? But if you mention feature request, they will send that to Dima and his team.
Another option actually is to, if you are our customer, you can go to Insiders, and you can also create a feature request there as a post, because again, Dima and I and our customer success teams are all constantly watching we are constantly searching through all of the content, looking through all of the content there. So your request will also be seen. But after this, again, support@skylum.com is the best.
I'm just going to share, when Sheila's question was on and you had your hat on, Dima, she says, you look good in the red and white. Our church hosts a Ukrainian family. So there you go. There, woo! So yes, Canada's taken in lots of Ukrainian refugees as well.
Thank you so much for that.
And Pat said, just a comment, I've loved all my Skylum products so much, and pray daily.
Thank you so much, Pat.
Lots of comments came in with similar comment. Yeah. To answer Michael's question about where to export in terms of sharing the folder, you can actually do that now, Michael. So if I want to export this, let me just close out. When you go to export to disk, you could save it wherever you want, right? So it defaults to like the last folder you were in, but you can literally put it anywhere you want, okay? So you could save it on your desktop, which I don't recommend, or on your external drive. So you get to choose where you save your images, okay? And the size that you export them.
I thought that was the question about the probably HDR and upscale. That
That's
folder.
probably as well. Yeah, the question wasn't fully clear in there. Maybe you can clarify that for us, Michael, if you're still watching. Let's see. I'm just going through the live comments here. Okay, here we go. Here's an interesting question. Karina says, is the ability to label edits that are done when using the erase or clone tool being considered? So, for example, I think I know what she means in terms of, let's say you erased a tree branch or erased a sign. You want to be able to label that version of the erase tool as, okay, what you did with it. Because if you close the erase tool and apply it again, you can erase something different.
Yeah, label the edits, label the layers, etc., etc. Yeah, that's the thing that we understand we have to improve. So yeah, thanks for the feedback. We are on the same page. We know we have to add that.
You can see Phil had the same question, and they want me to be added to the development team. Well, I kind of am, Karen. I mean, I've got the inside track here. So let's see. Holly says if she's got the Neo logo, she can make her shirt. So can we make sure that she gets that? I'll make sure. I'm not sure what this means, Drew. If you can clarify, is there an option on the clone tool to flip or rotate the selection? I'm not sure what that means. So I'm just gonna.
I know what that means.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah. So at the moment, no, you don't have such a possibility at the moment. Using the clone tool, I know what you mean. We'll think, but it's not very. I think quite easy way to develop in UX UI. That's the thing, and it's that feature is not also for wide audience. So that's something specific.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take it into account. We'll think about it. Thank you.
Yeah, there's the question about configuring the default location of where the HDR stacking and so on goes. And I think, you and I discussed that as well, just the ability to choose if we want it to go in the default. Because for me, I put mine back in the folder where my image lives.
Yeah, we discussed that. And what can I mention? The reason we do not provide that possibility just because often users contact to our customer support. I can't find my HDR or I can't find my upscale images. So that's the main reason we made such a decision. But we'll think about it.
Pat has an interesting question, and I actually have a solution for her. Tell me if you think you agree with me, Dima. It would be wonderful to have an overall opacity slider on all the tools that have several adjustments on them. So when you've gotten them all balanced out, you just need to decrease the overall amount. My suggestion would be save it as a preset. Then you can go back and apply the preset and dial the preset amount down.
Definitely.
So there's your answer, Pat. You can already do that. The question from Brian from Kentucky. When using HDR Merge, Neo seems to name in some color and contrast adjustments, but curious if the option to merge only with no adjustments would be possible. I know what he's saying, because when you do an HDR Merge in Lightroom, there's a little tick box that says do automatic settings or not. So it applies automatic contrast and so on adjustments. And he's asking if that's an option to not have Neo do the automatic adjustments. I personally like the way it comes out. I find that it gives me a good base. So, but I know what he means about having that option.
That's a good question. Good question. First of all, we'll think about it, but it's something that
Difficult to do.
it is not easy. I think I can say it's not so easy, and also I don't know how many people need that.
We already talked about this one, Neo. We already talked about Neo and Panorama. Here's another one. Okay, so this one was another question that came up ahead of time. The HDR merge, having it come back as a DNG file would be fantastic. So when you merge in Photoshop or Lightroom, you end up with a DNG, which is a 16-bit file. So I think that's what they're looking for here.
Yeah, we also think about the DNG export, but I can promise that you will have that. In general, we need to to integrate the DNG support in general, DNG export first of all, to the Luminar, and then think to what tools and we can use that. And so I can't say that it's in our short-term or long-term plans at the moment, but we already think about it.
Okay. Let's see. Dale wants a before and after slider for individual edits. I just use the little eyeball thing, but he's looking for before and after per edit. Again, that's probably not something that's commonly asked for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just scanning the chat here. Here's another comment on the customer service. Thank you for consistent updates. Your service is excellent. This is Danelle's comment on the new platform. We totally get that, Danelle. We're committed to Neo. They're committed to Neo at this point. So, Dale. So we talked about this. Dale said that the gold standard, and this has been talked about, I guess, on coffee breaks, is I had a hack for dodge and burn, which was using the develop tool before you added the dodge and burn tool in, and people are still using my method instead of dodge and burn. So thanks for that, Dale. And David says, thanks for your answer. Excellent history. And Pat says, one of the things I love about Skylum's connections is Skylum's connections to users. We know you care about us. I think the feeling is mutual. So much. Yeah, thanks, Pat. I think the feeling is mutual. Okay, let's go back to the spreadsheet. I'm trying to catch up with live questions as well. Gord says he loves supporting smaller companies. No support for Leica. Aha. Can you move on? If not, by the way, DNG converter is no help. So maybe you talk to Peter about this because he was shooting Leica as well. So there's no support for that particular Leica. And I think, again, that's maybe a smaller request, Gord, because I don't personally know a lot of people that shoot Leica. You know, it's a bit of a, Cadillac in the Cadillac world, in the camera world. So, but Dima, you can make note of that one.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, let's go back to the list. How are we doing? Do you want to handle Simon's big question, or let's see, what's a good one? Do you want to handle the crash question? Because there's a few people saying, why does Neo lock up? Why does it crash? Why do I have these problems? Do you want to just handle that one, Dima?
And just communicate to our customer support, and also we are collecting all the crash logs. So coming updates, you will not have that crash.
Let's hope. Okay, so Russ said to be able to have subfolders in my image folder so we can have categories like clouds, animals, trees instead of scrolling the whole list. And I would agree with them on that because I'm going to go back to here again. So, for example, if I add a layer under my images, that's where he's wanting to have subfolders, and that would be really helpful as well. For me, so I will agree with that. Some sort of an organization system here, like we have here.
Yeah, thanks for the question, and thank you for the feedback. Yeah, we also understand that it's not quite good at the moment, and we have to improve the organization of the layers. So yeah, that's the thing we understand we have to improve, and we will.
Cool. Margaret said, is there a limit to the number of layers I can use when I'm editing?
I don't remember. I think no.
It would make a really big file though, right? If you keep adding, multiple. So test it and let us know. Edward from USA says, when will I have access to the Filmstrip in the edit module? I'm going to second and third that one as well.
Good question. It's not the first time we see that question. We have we know you asking about it. We talk about it internally. There are some technical issues that we have to cover, and then we can deliver it to you. So that's not something that we can't develop. But at the moment, we have some, I can say, blockers that we need to cover. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to kind of combine a few questions here because people are asking some feature requests. Let's see. So somebody asked about editing or exporting to Final Cut Pro, which is video editing. Stephen asked about that. Edward Barbieri asked about infrared, and will Neo be able to edit infrared files? And I added specifically color. So just for your information, Ed, I've actually sent some black and white ones or some from mine to Dima so that he can test. And let's see. Yeah, do you want to handle that one? So video editing and infrared, is that something?
Video editing, I think that's not the thing we are
about.
We don't think about it. And talking about the infrared, we also talk with Darlene about that. So we'll see. But in the near future, it's I can say it's not our focus. So we have in our roadmap a lot of work to do. But I think we can discuss it at the moment and then research your need.
Okay. Let's see. A couple of people asked about this one. Who will want to take this one? Is Neo going to become available for mobile? In other words, like iPad?
Yeah, I can take it. So right now, as some of you might know, we've released our mobile app called ImageMe, IMGMI, on mobile. So it's available for Android users and for iPhone users. But overall, as I've mentioned earlier today, our focus is to be as accessible for our community as possible. And that might mean being available on multiple platforms. So I can say that we are definitely experimenting in this field, but we cannot commit to anything yet, just because for us, quality is incredibly important. And if we feel that something is not ready for you to see, we might postpone it and release it later rather than sooner. So if we are thinking about it, yes, of course, right? Everyone started editing on mobile. Many people do take mobile photos. But as you know, at some point when you're taking photos on mobile, you hit this glass ceiling when you just know that mobile photos are just not there if you want to create a masterpiece, like something that you would be able to put on your wall, for example, right? So, and that's where you start using cameras. So if we're thinking about it, yes. If we can share something or commit to some dates, no. But definitely we want to be closer to you. And if you have any specific feature requests for multiple platforms, again, we welcome all of the feedback, because it's your feedback that help us navigate our roadmap, that helps us navigate our plans. And but for now, you can try ImageMe and see if you like it. It has sky replacement. It has some of our face and body retouching features. It also has amazing filters. And I hope you will like it. It's a really nice app for those of you who do take mobile photos. I love it. I use it myself, and I'm an avid mobile photography editor. So I edit a lot on mobile aside from desktop. And I feel it's a great product. And at the same time, we will experiment more.
Rob mentioned that it's only available for Android, but at website, or he sees it on Google Play for Android, but the website still says only iOS. So
good catch. We'll check it out. Thank you so much for noticing it, Rob.
So Catherine, I just put her comment on the screen. Thanks for doing this today. So I would like to extend my thanks to you guys as well. This is awesome. And Dale says naming, flattening, merging, grouping of layers. I think we've talked about that. All of those things have been sent forward, and the team is working on those things. So Michael says with Windows, the little demonstration that I did about exporting, it does not show the folder. You have to use browse. So option for current folder and so on would be for, he's requesting for Windows.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Pat says she was talking about opacity sliders on each individual tool. So the little trick that I said about saving as a preset, so not to dial back an entire edit, just the tool. So a opacity or a strength slider on the tool.
Okay. Good question, but
lots of great questions.
Yeah. I don't know how many people need that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
No.
I just go and adjust the sliders myself.
Yeah.
In develop mode, you cannot see before and after for each section, light, curve, sharpness, etc. Is that true?
Yeah, you can just.
It's just before and after for develop.
For all the tool. Yeah.
Okay. Phil's giving a shout out to Vanelli. We love Vanelli. Calvin says, is there a way to do batch processing?
Yes, we have the sync adjustment. So you can just copy all, you can copy adjustment from one photo and apply that adjustment to another. So yeah.
Like this?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just showing that for their benefit. Dale says Skylum's community building is unlike any other. Great job. I would agree with that. All of us partners that joined them in Madeira and Portugal, Pete Van den Eynd, and my audience knows Pete. We said the same thing. Adobe. We've been using Adobe. I've been using Adobe for like 28 years or something, and I've never met any Adobe person face to face. I've never had a telephone call or a Zoom call, and I've certainly never been invited to Portugal by Adobe. So yes, you guys go above and beyond.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Dale, and for your warm words for Vanelli. I will share it with him for sure. He will be thrilled to hear that. And yeah, for us, it's really important to be committed to our community. Like many people on the team are photographers. Darlene is witness to that. And we just love what we are doing, and we want to stay close to you so we can get the insights, we can hear what's important for you, and we can create the best product possible.
And I can attest that we had a lot of laughs. So many laughs. Okay, I'm not sure the first name here, but Walker wants to know, is there a way to relocate the folder Neo uses to store images? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you clarify? Can you clarify that for us? Here's a great question from Dale. Supporting pressure sensitive devices, so like a Wacom tablet. Are you familiar with that, Dima? I have one here if you want to see what it looks like, but it's the little tablets. It's the little square tablets that you use. So not like an iPad, but Wacom tablet where you actually use a pen instead of a mouse. They're pressure sensitive. So if you press harder, you get a stronger brush stroke.
I think we've had some something in before in the other products we've developed before. I don't remember in which of them, but we had that. But in Luminar Neo, we didn't have that. We just have to check: is it needed, and for what is the audience for that?
He clarified either to relocate or change it in your initial preferences. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to the other sheet here.
If I can just take this one really quick with Wacom tablets. So, well, we obviously know Wacom. We used to bundle our products with them before. So they're an amazing company, and I feel like their products are really beneficial for photographers. And just let us think about it, because we might explore it, but as Dima has mentioned, we will assess the audience first. We will see how much demand is there, and after that we will see if we are going to proceed with it.
Awesome. Marguerite has a great question, actually. Does Luminar Neo prompt users to back up the catalog when exiting, and can I save it to an external drive? I would love to have that ability and to do that, because again, this is something I can show you if you want, Dima. When we exit Lightroom, you can set up Lightroom to prompt you to back up the catalog and then to save it on an external drive. So recently I was working with one of my tutoring students, and her entire computer crashed, like literally fried, like she smelled something burning, and then her computer died and had to get a brand new computer, basically. And she had to go from backups, and her Lightroom backups were all on an external. So if that happened and her Luminar Neo catalog was on her laptop, she could lose it. So some sort of system for just reminding people, hey, you need to do a backup.
Okay, well, think about it. Thanks for that.
Because we can do a backup in here, right? Is there not?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Where is it?
You're talking about the the notification to a reminder, yes?
Right. Yes. So here's catalog backup. But if I do that, yeah, it will allow me to save it. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah. But she's just looking for a reminder. Yeah. Because photographers are notoriously bad at remembering to back up their images. Okay. I know I've been guilty of that myself. Okay. So Dale sent in some things by email as well from a group that he is part of. It said your group meeting came up with some feature requests, layers, naming, flattening, merging, grouping. We've covered that. When doing composite of images of different tone luminosity, an AI tool to match the layers. Well, that's interesting. To be able to change the order of the edits. Okay, so in the edit panel, the ability to change the color of the mask. We talked about that. ability to move or copy edits from one catalog to another. And I know that I asked Dima specifically for the ability to copy a mask from one layer to another. So there's a whole bunch of feature requests for you, Dima.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, some of the features you're asking, they are quite specific, and we also talk about the audience, how many people request that thing. But we talk with Darlene before the stream, so we're trying to find the best combination between what we can do, what our user expect and ask, and what time and resource we have. So usually we are choosing between one tool to develop or another to develop, and we just look on the how big is the audience. So that's but we hear you, and I think many of requested features and things we will develop. So
awesome. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple quick answers here. Any possible, this is from Brian, any possibility of expanded export capabilities as such as the ability to limit the file size on export? Well, we can do that now, Brian. If I bring up my thing again, so if I say export, you just have to go to show options down here, and now you have the ability of changing the pixel size and adjusting it here. But I know what Brian is asking, because again, not to compare to Lightroom, but that's what people are using. There's an option or a tick box on the export of Lightroom that allows you to say max out at 200K or max out at 2 megs or something like that. So not just a pixel size, but like a file size.
Yeah.
So that one, okay. Kathy says, I'm new to Luminar Neo. I purchased a tutorial from Darlene. Thank you for that, Kathy. And I'm so enjoying my editing experience until about 3 weeks ago. None of my edits will save. I can crop an image and hit apply. And then once I go back to the catalog, the image is the same as before I made the edits. I tried reloading the catalog. I switched from Lightroom to Luminar as a powerful yet user-friendly editing software, but she's very frustrated right now. So again, I would suggest that you go back to customer support and see if they can work through that with you, Kathy, because that's not something that everybody is possibly experiencing. Jan from Netherlands asked, what is the best workflow? What is the best way to use Luminar Neo as a plugin for Lightroom? Right-click and choose File Plugin. I actually have some videos on that. So maybe, Rob, if you could share some links to our videos on workflow of Lightroom to Luminar as a plugin, because depending on if you want to keep truly non-destructive edits, you want to actually take it to Photoshop as a smart object and then apply Luminar as a filter in Photoshop, and then you will completely have non-destructive edits, meaning you can get back to Luminar at any time. If you just need to go and apply finishing, like for example, I will do mystical on lots of things, or the glow tool, the Orton effect, I will just take it directly and I'll right click and say edit in Neo directly. So there's a couple of different ways that you can get there. So share those for Jan, Rob, our videos on workflow. Now Nate asked a question about background removal. Says, I dislike it, too much refining of the selection. My comment would be that it actually, for me, I find it works quite well. And we have a video on that as well. So if Rob could bring up that one. Rob's now busy working in the background here. But do you have any comments about that, Dima, in terms of refining the selection process?
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. we know about the quality and we're trying to improve it. So as far as we have, I think I can commit with some dates, but you will have the improved background removal this year.
Cool. Nate has a great question. I'm going to give this one to Juliana because I think you probably have some answer here. And I think this was Nate that asked this one. When are you coming to the US?
That's a great question. So we don't have any specific plans yet, apart from some of our team members will be coming to Seattle at the end of May, and some will also come to California at the end of June. But if you want to meet the team, you can join our amazing Luminar adventures in Iceland. And that's one option. And another one is just subscribe to our Instagram page, because we are going to do more events, more photo walks this year, and we will keep announcing them there. So if you want to meet the team and join us at one of our events, we just before our Madeira trip, we had a photo walk here in Lisbon with 50 people attending. It was an amazing chance to meet the team. And if you just subscribe to our Instagram page, it's Luminar Global, and just watch for updates. And whenever the team comes, and if you're organizing a larger event, we will also send out an email inviting people to our photo walks or whatever we are going to organize, and we'll be able to meet. That would be amazing.
Do you have access to the main chat, Juliana? Can you put a link to the Skylum?
Unfortunately, no, I cannot.
Private chat for us, and then Rob will put it in the main chat.
I will.
And also, if you want, that's up to you guys, to share your individual Instagrams. If you'd like to put that in there as well for people, feel free, or not, that's up to you. And then you could see Juliana and Dima's photos. We're getting close to an hour and a half, so I'm going to go with one more question for Juliana, and then we're going to sort of wrap up. We've got a lot more questions than we can possibly handle today, so we're going to do as many as we can, and we've gotten a lot covered, but we'll do another session if we need to. So I want to end with some positive things and some comments from our members and our readers. Is everyone in Ukraine doing okay, staying safe, and what can we do to help? Lee.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question, and thank you so much for your concern. I want to know that team has felt your support all the time during the last year, and you guys, people who use Luminar, has been our inspiration and support over the last year, because many people has been working, Dima among them, just to put their mind off things, just to stay focused on work and not to focus on what's going on around them. And that helped a lot. Like, having this purpose, having this mission is really important, and we are grateful to you for that. And right now, like, Ukraine is not safe. Obviously, it's more or less safe in some regions, completely not safe in others. But the team is staying strong. The team is focused on, because at some point you get used to living with whatever, and the team just continues focusing on their work, because that's our way of supporting Ukrainian economy. That's our way to bring some good into this world, and that's what we are trying to do every day. And if you want to help, we at Skylum has started a fund that focus on providing help for people who has been injured or during the war actions, and it's called Valid Ukraine. I'll also share the link with Darlene and Rob, so we can you can check it out. And we raise money for different medical equipment, and that's how we continue to contribute to Ukraine and to the people of Ukraine. So thank you so much. You've done a lot. Many people have sent us drones over the last year, and they helped us enormously. I can tell you, I can even begin to tell you how important that was. And just whenever you just wrote an email to us or just left a comment or just spread the word about it, you helped. So thank you so much for that. There are no small actions, and everything that you've done counts, and we are extremely grateful for that.
Yes, I find my group, definitely my followers have been very supportive of Ukraine and the team. So I'll read a few more comments. Just kind of final thoughts. Kelly from Canada said, thank you for all the work you're doing. It's a great program. Holly said, sorry about the continued state of war. Thanks to all for keeping the company going under the circumstances. Neo keeps getting better, so I can only assume customers will be happier going forward. I'm a customer for life, and I look forward to continuing our journey. Well, that's awesome. Dwight said, thank you for all your hard work in adverse conditions that you face. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Let me
Thank
see.
you.
Deb sent love and wishes to the team in Ukraine. You're doing a marvelous job. Hang in there. We pray for you daily from Les. So lots of great comments. And again, some of the favorite tools they use. Glow. John uses Glow as a landscape photographer and adds Orton effect. I know I love me some Mystical. Les loves the background removal tool. Haha, lots of compositing for clients. So there you go. We have a +1 for the background removal tool. Enhance AI with a single slider. I can get 60% of the way there. Structure AI. I love the texture it gives to animals and other subjects. So everybody is loving the tools. And I'm going to share my screen one more time. Let me just get over here. So just as a reminder, if you want to get the trial version, if you don't currently have Luminar Neo, you can get the trial version there. And also you can check out our Luminar Neo course. There's a link to this page here, and we'll put it in the description of the video as well. So after the live is done, you'll be able to get to this page as well, just to give you the page for our Neo course. So our Luminar Neo course has something around, are we getting close to 20 hours of instruction yet, Rob? Somewhere around 20 hours of instruction. That's the link to our course. And it has also been fully endorsed by Skylum because we are on the Skylum marketplace as well. So it's one of the only or few Luminar courses on the market. So if you want to have step-by-step instructions, and of course, you can join us here every week live as well. And on that note, we're actually going to be moving the live. This is the last Saturday. So we're going to be moving to Wednesdays at, oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. We're going to be moving to Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So please update your calendars. We're going to skip next Wednesday, and we'll be starting the Wednesday after that. So if somebody has a calendar, can tell me what date that is. Rob is busy sharing links in the chat.
May 10th, Wednesday.
10th? So, no, the following one.
Yeah?
So Holly can vouch for my course. Thank you for that. Catherine says, definitely do the course. It's taught you so much. Thank you, Catherine. And we're going to try and answer as many of we're going to stay in the chat as long as we can and keep answering a few questions here. You're an inspiration for the rest of the free world. Thanks for that, Janelle. Ivan has provided great support. Ivan is the CEO, who I also met as well, and he has been to Canada. So thank you for that, Sheila and Janelle. Yes, May 17th. So our next live will be May 17th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So am I missing anything? Let me just come back to the three of us here. So thank you. Thank you guys so much, Dima and Juliana. This has been wonderful. We didn't get to all of the questions because there were so many, but for me, that's awesome because that means people are interested and they're using the program. And we know that you guys are dedicated to making it better and to working with partners like me and as well as the customers who are using Luminar Neo. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting us, and thank you so much for all of the questions, for all of the questions before the live, and thanks to everyone who is going to watch it after it goes on your YouTube.
I'm going to show everybody my lovely bag. Look at this lovely bag. So this is what you can get when you go on an adventure, right? I've got the patch for Madeira. You can come to Iceland and get the Iceland patch, right?
Right. Yes, we are going to create a custom patch for all of our troops.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the engagement, for your questions, and we will try to make the best solution for you.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to sign out, and I will see the rest of you watching on the 17th, and I'll continue to talk with Juliana and Dima and work together with them. So thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.